Hashtag trends. A celebrity's controversial statement sparks outrage. Suddenly, the internet's collective fury descends. But is this cancel culture, this rapid public condemnation, a powerful tool for justice wielded by a digitally native generation, or merely a fleeting, often misguided online mob? From digital shaming to calls for accountability, cancel culture has reshaped our online lives. Today, we're dissecting the cancel culture clash, Gen Z activism, or outrage, the anatomy of a cancel, origins and definitions. To understand the phenomenon shaping our digital world, we must first break it down. Cancel culture is more than just a modern boycott. It is a form of public shaming where individuals or groups are denounced and campaigned against, often through social media, for actions or opinions deemed objectionable. It can manifest in two primary ways: as a boycott, where economic and social support is withdrawn, or as a more direct attempt to deplatform and silence the target's voice entirely. The ultimate goal is often a total disinvestment in the subject of the cancellation. While the term itself gained prominence in the late 2010s, its roots are more complex and deeper. It evolved from call-out culture, the practice of publicly naming instances of oppressive behavior. The term cancel itself has its origins in Black vernacular tradition, where it was sometimes used humorously before being adapted into a tool for serious social commentary. It was within the digital counterpublics of queer communities of color and Black Twitter, a meta-network of culturally linked communities, that canceling was forged into an expression of agency, a conscious choice to withdraw attention and money from those whose actions were deemed harmful. However, as the practice entered the mainstream, its meaning was contested. What began as a tool for marginalized groups to critique power was reframed by some as a threat to free speech and a form of censorship. This semantic shift turned the very definition of cancel culture into a battleground in a larger culture war over who has the power to define reality. Of course, public shaming is not a 21st century invention. Ancient societies had their forms of cancellation. The ancient Greeks practiced ostracism, a democratic procedure where citizens could vote to exile an individual for a decade. The Roman Empire employed an even more profound form known as damnatio memoriae, or condemnation of memory, where all public traces of a disgraced individual were systematically erased. In the 20th century, the McCarthy-era Hollywood blacklist professionally and socially ruined individuals based on political allegations. The difference today is the digital catalyst. Social media platforms with algorithms designed to maximize engagement have become unprecedented amplifiers for moral outrage, which research shows is a highly contagious emotion. This creates a feedback loop where emotionally charged content is prioritized, accelerating a call-out from a niche conversation to a global trend in hours, and forging a court of public opinion with unparalleled speed and scale. The activist's tool, amplifying voices demanding accountability. The primary argument in favor of cancel culture rests on its function as a powerful decentralized tool for social justice, particularly for groups historically denied access to traditional levers of power. In this view, cancel culture represents a democratization of accountability, enabling collective action to challenge injustice when established systems fail. The #MeToo movement serves as the quintessential example. For decades, allegations against figures like Harvey Weinstein were dismissed or handled behind closed doors. It was only through the amplification provided by social media that a critical mass of public condemnation formed, forcing a reckoning that the justice system had failed to deliver. By October 2018, just 1 year after the hashtag went viral, 201 powerful men had lost their jobs due to sexual misconduct allegations posted online, a testament to the tangible impact of this new form of digital accountability. As writer Jill Filipovich notes, for the powerful criminal convictions are rare, so the court of public opinion ends up being where accusations are tried. This empowerment extends beyond individual cases to systemic issues. Cancel culture allows marginalized communities to challenge systemic racism, sexism, and corporate exploitation on a global stage. University of Michigan professor Lisa Nakamura describes this as the ultimate expression of agency for those who have limited power over the media and the narratives presented to them. It is a form of cultural boycott, born from a desire for control and a demand for accountability that is not centralized or gatekept by traditional institutions. Gen Z and younger millennials, who are more organized on social media and often more culturally and politically connected than previous generations, are frequently at the forefront of these movements. They have used their collective power to force corporations to answer for unethical practices, such as when brands like Aunt Jemima were canceled for using racial stereotypes, leading to their retirement. They have challenged the fashion industry over cultural appropriation and racist comments, as seen in the #boycott Dolce & Gabbana movement, which reportedly cost the brand millions in lost revenue. Data from the Pew Research Center supports this observation. Younger adults are significantly more likely to describe call-outs on social media as a form of holding people accountable, while older adults are more likely to see the same actions as unjustly punishing people. This reflects a generational shift in the understanding of justice, where for many cancel culture is not about punishment, but about demanding a more equitable world. The outrage machine: hasty judgments and disproportionate consequences. However, for every story of accountability, there is a cautionary tale about the dark side of cancel culture. Critics argue that it can quickly devolve into a digital mob fueled by outrage more than fact and inflict consequences that are disproportionate to the alleged offense. The psychology behind this is potent. Social media platforms can create a state of de-individuation, where individuals lose their sense of self-awareness and personal responsibility when part of a large anonymous group. This, combined with groupthink, where the desire for conformity overrides rational judgment, can lead to the viral amplification of emotion over fact-based analysis. Moral outrage is highly contagious, and algorithms designed to prioritize engaging content often create a self-perpetuating outrage machine. The consequences for those targeted can be devastating. Researchers and anecdotal reports point to severe mental health impacts, including anxiety, deep depression, and profound social isolation. The court of public opinion operates without the basic principles of due process. Nuance and context are often the first casualties, as complex situations are flattened into simplistic narratives of good versus evil. There is often no meaningful opportunity for the accused to present a defense before a verdict is rendered by the digital crowd. This creates a chilling effect on free speech. The fear of being publicly shamed discourages individuals from expressing their opinions or asking questions, particularly on sensitive topics. Polling data provides clear evidence of this. A 2021 study from the American National Election Studies found that 45% of both Gen Z and millennials report self-censoring their speech at least occasionally. An Australian study by McCrindle Research found that Gen Z is the most likely generation to self-censor, with 40% agreeing that the rise of cancel culture has led them to be more guarded about their opinions. This widespread fear of reputational damage creates an environment of conformity where individuals may be hesitant to voice dissenting views, leading to a homogenization of thought. This climate can be particularly damaging in academic and creative fields, where progress often depends on the willingness to challenge established orthodoxies. The ultimate risk is the creation of a public sphere where the loudest and most certain voices dominate, while the more reflective and nuanced ones fall silent. The generational divide: understanding the clash. The core tension of cancel culture is often best viewed through a generational lens. Gen Z and millennials, while frequently grouped, have distinct approaches rooted in their different formative experiences with the internet. Gen Z, born roughly between 1997 and 2012, is a true digital native. They grew up fully immersed in a world where social media was a pre-existing and dominant social ecosystem. For them, online and offline identities are seamlessly integrated, and digital platforms are natural arenas for social interaction and activism. Their approach is often characterized by digital fluency, immediacy, and a comfort with public callouts as a primary tool for change. Millennials, born between approximately 1981 and 1996, are digital pioneers. They came of age alongside the internet, witnessing its evolution from niche forums to the global behemoths of today. This history may lead them to approach the current landscape with a different perspective. Some may be more cautious, perhaps prioritizing dialogue over immediate condemnation, while others may feel a sense of exhaustion from the relentless pace of online culture wars. Data reveals a fascinating support fear paradox, particularly among younger people. Research from the Manhattan Institute found that younger people are simultaneously more supportive of cancel culture and more fearful of it. 45% of working people under 30 were afraid of losing their jobs due to online speech compared to just 29% of those over 55. Yet by a 48% to 27% margin, those under 30 agreed that this fear is a justified price to pay to protect historically disadvantaged groups. This suggests a generation that believes in the utilitarian value of cancellation, while also being acutely aware of its potential to be turned against them. Real-world case studies illustrate this complexity. The cancellation of YouTuber Shane Dawson in 2020 for years-old content, including blackface and offensive jokes, highlighted the issue of holding creators accountable for past actions in light of evolving social norms. The controversy surrounding J.K. Rowling's statements on gender identity became a proxy war for larger ideological debates, demonstrating the limits of cancellation when it intersects with a major cultural fault line. And the Goya Foods incident, where a call for a boycott was met with an equally fervent boycott from conservative supporters, showed that in a hyper-polarized environment, a cancellation attempt can activate powerful tribal loyalties on both sides, transforming a consumer product into a symbol in the culture wars. We've explored the power and the pitfalls. But where do you draw the line? Is cancel culture a necessary evil for accountability or a dangerous mob mentality? Drop A for justice or a for outrage in the comments and tell us your most complex thoughts. Remember, civil debate only. Conclusion and recap. Cancel culture is a complex, evolving phenomenon reflecting both our deepest desires for justice and our digital world's capacity for rapid, often unforgiving judgment. It is a dual-edged sword. A potentially legitimate tool for democratizing accountability, capable of giving voice to the voiceless and challenging entrenched power, and simultaneously a deeply flawed mechanism, prone to mob mentality, disproportionate punishment, and the erosion of nuanced public discourse. Gen Z, as digital natives, often wield this tool with an immediacy and moral conviction born from their online immersion. Millennials, as digital pioneers, may approach it with more caution, shaped by having witnessed the internet's evolution. The path forward lies not in its eradication, but in learning how to wield its power with greater nuance, empathy, and a commitment to genuine dialogue over performative outrage. The future of social accountability online depends on whether we can learn to build bridges, not just burn them. What are your thoughts on cancel culture? Share your perspective respectfully below. And if this episode made you think, like and subscribe to GenShift for more deep dives into the complex realities of our digital world.